1917, a young man, Maximilian Kolbe, was in Rome doing his studies for the priesthood. Here is the moment that was used for the title of this podcast. So I'm going to read from this book right here. This is Kolbe, Saint of the Immaculata, edited by Brother Francis Galvalage, page 31. He writes this: the event which triggered an immediate need for such a movement of renewal and evangelization occurred in Rome, 1917. It was during the bicentenary of Freemasonry, and the Freemasons were making Rome the theater of their sacrilegious demonstrations. In their hatred of the church, they marched right up to the doors of St. Peter's, where the Pope was a voluntary prisoner. Now, just imagine this for a minute. We have today, in our day today, we have St. Peter's Basilica, we have St. Peter's Square. You've seen pictures of it. Maybe you've been to Rome, but you've seen pictures of the Pope at St. Peter's, and you have that whole St. Peter's Square with the obelisk. So we have a Freemasonic procession going all the way up to St. Peter's Basilica. And just imagine what this would be like, because nothing like this could happen today so openly, because the Vatican City itself is a sovereign nation. You wouldn't be able to do that so openly as it was done in 1917. But at the time, the Masonic Italian state owned that land, or they said they own it. They were obviously usurpers. But here's what they said. Continuing on, boldly they displayed their banners. Satan must reign in the Vatican. The Pope will be his slave. At the same time, they were distributing pamphlets attacking the church and the Holy Father. The military blood of the young friar boiled. This is Maximilian Kolbe. Now, just like Ignatius of Loyola, who founded the classical Jesuits, Maximilian Kolbe at first wanted to be a soldier. He had a military mind, and his military mind, ultimately in God's providence, was destined to found a particular movement of counter-revolution and a militant movement. Here's what St. Maximilian Kolbe, how he reacted to this. Now, just think about this for a minute. If you saw a satanic procession, you were in St. Peter's Basilica, in the St. Peter's Square, you saw a satanic procession like this, how would you react? How would you react in the various things that you've seen in the church today? How did you react when Pachamama happened? How did you react in these various scandals? Because this is an immense scandal, a satanic procession. Now, what does St. Maximilian Kolbe do? The military blood of the young friar boiled. His reaction to his confreres, Kolbe threw out this challenge. In the face of such attacks of the enemies of the Church of God, are we to remain inactive? Is that all we can do? Complain and cry? No. Every one of us has a holy obligation to personally hurl back the assaults of the foe. So this is the beginning of St. Maximilian Kolbe's Militia Immaculata, his Soldiers of the Immaculate, his movement of militant counter-revolution against the Masonic infiltration of the Vatican. So his reaction is to fight immediately to defend the church against this evil. Now, notice what he says, though. All we to do is complain and cry? Now, we live in a day where we have social media, which actually rewards us for complaining and crying. And that's a big problem, because for one thing, we have a psychological manipulation with the social media slave masters. They designed it that way. So when you get a like, you get a share and all this stuff, it's giving you some kind of endorphin boost or serotonin or whatever. So it's actually psychologically manipulating you to complain. And this is a difficult situation, because obviously with OnePeterFive, we're trying to critique the status quo in Rome, the status quo in the Vatican, various things that the Holy Father has done or said. We're trying to critique that, but we don't want to just simply complain and cry. St. Maximilian Kolbe is also the patron saint of journalists, because his Militia Immaculata creates a he has a newspaper, the Night, I believe it's called the Night, the Knights of the Immaculata. And he has this newspaper which fights the good fight against the Masons. And this is what we're trying to do at OnePeterFive. We're trying to have this good, positive force of fighting against the Marxist, Masonic revolution and infiltration in the church. Like St. Maximilian, we may see the Masons completely surrounding St. Peter's Basilica. We may see them with their satanic parade, boasting that the Pope will be the slave of Satan. We may see it in so many words and so many scandals out there, but the more violently the storms engulf the Rock of Peter, the more we believe in the Rock of Peter. We must not lose our faith in the face of certain death, because our forefathers fought and died. They bled to pass down this faith, even when things seem to be completely lost. Pope Pius VI was taken from Rome by Napoleon, and he died in France. So in the year 1800, there was no Christmas 1800. Catholics throughout the world had no pope. And he was mocked as Pius the Last. Can you imagine? The French Revolution had decimated the French church. It had murdered countless priests and nuns. It had taken the Pope himself. Pius the Last. But the more violently the storms come against the Rock of Peter in Rome, the more we believe in you and your rock, O Eucharistic Heart of Jesus. So this is the challenge of our faith today, that we can have this indestructible faith against all odds, against certain death, against what appears to be the total destruction of the church. We need to have this faith, and that's the faith of St. Maximilian Kolbe at a time when Rome was indeed quite humbled, that the Satanic parade could just walk up straight to the St. Peter's Basilica and distribute this literature, the Satanic, asking the Pope to be the slave of Satan. We need to have this faith in the promises of Christ in the face of, against all odds, against everything that we know that the world might tell us about what's happening. Because Satan, just like Napoleon will come and say, Pius the Last, I've destroyed the church. Satan himself, just as he did in that parade, he will come to you and say, I have overcome the church. It's over. You can throw away your Roman Catholic Church, your Roman Catholic faith. And we need to have the fight within us of St. Maximilian Kolbe.